everybody.
Guys. So,
We had a little snafu.
yeah.
Not so much with the video this time, but
Yeah.
for whatever reason, for about 10 episodes worth of
10
NieR,
episodes.
all the audio we recorded of us talking decided to not work.
Yeah, and we have no idea why. We both Andrew and I, well, Andrew has better memory than me, and I was pretty sure that I remember I saw it had the right mic selected, like it had my, standard recording mic selected. Everything else was as we always keep it.
Yeah.
And for some reason it just didn't work.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not like, the audio, it's not like we forgot to record audio, it was just, for whatever reason, it's just blank.
We have the audio, it just has nothing, there's nothing there. And I don't know if this is an issue with like an Audacity issue or what, but whatever, it seems to be working fine right now. So
this is us overdubbing our old episodes.
Just to be clear, we're gonna be doing post commentary on the next like 10 videos. I know guys, sorry, but at least I can get my thoughts out of the way about this.
Yep, so unfortunately some of our things aren't going to be quite as accurate because we're not reacting in the moment. We're just now observing, like you guys.
That's the thing with this whole thing in YouTube that's built up of like video game commentary. It's just like it's so important to just get the moment something happens, that person's reaction,
Yeah.
And unfortunately we don't have any of that now.
Yeah, because you can definitely tell when someone's just like it's scripted, where
yeah.
it's like,
oh yeah,
oh god, like the thing jumped out at me. It's not usually that bad, but still, it's a different thing when someone genuinely like jumps when something comes out at them, or they're doing a thing and you can see the expressions. Like if there's face cam, you can see the expressions on their faces.
Flailing around, and I was like, I hope I wasn't talking about something important. I don't remember. Oh, okay, but. If I remember correctly, in this episode, we did a lot of side quest stuff.
This was definitely
there we go. James fall off the ladder, and yeah.
Ooh, yeah, this is a very side quest heavy episode. Although, how long is this? We do have a few minutes to talk, so this is something I want to briefly talk with you, or maybe at length talk with you. It's something we talked about a little bit in one of the previous episodes of this. Mm-hmm. But before we begin, one thing I want to clarify in things that we did in college, that we're both college graduates, right?
Yeah.
Right. We took a lot of classes. Do you feel like college really prepared you for stuff?
For the real world?
Yeah.
Like taxes and stuff?
Yeah. Like, do you think...
It didn't.
Not to knock on college, because I think it was a good experience.
No, I wouldn't take that time away. Like this. But nah, all that real life stuff you just gotta learn on your own afterwards.
Because I think there should be a class of like, okay, here's stuff that as an adult you will need to do, regardless of what job you have.
Hell, I think that should be as early as in like high school. They should have something like that.
They do, but like high schoolers, they don't care. Like,
yeah,
like I've told this story at least to you, where like in my high school civics class, I didn't pay a lick of attention. I basically goofed off the entire time, and I still got an A.
Civics class? So would they teach you stuff like that?
Well, that's sort of like... Civics would be like how the government works.
Oh, okay.
And how, like...
I guess, yeah. But...
like where your taxes might actually go to, and how certain things... Just basically like, okay, here's how governments and voting and all that sort of stuff works. And...
Yeah.
If you were to give me a civics test right now, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. I barely remember that I'm just a Bill thing from Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
So, but one thing I can say is, I wrote a lot of papers in college. I know how to write an essay.
Yeah, everyone's written a lot of papers in college.
And I was pretty good at it. Like, that was... Okay. I mean, writing is my strength in general, but so I got pretty good at writing an essay. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I did write about was... the representation of women in media.
Yeah. Oh, that's a topic I like to discuss as well.
But, I mean, we can actually kind of I also talked about it in college anyway, where I was more of a broad thing of, like, representation of both genders, because it's kind of messed up when you think about how as...
Hypermasculization and also the breakdown of like feminine qualities into distilled unrealistic realizations in social media.
Yeah.
Well, in media in general.
Or in just, even sometimes where it's just like societal norms of like, here's things that are expected.
Yeah.
I mean, would you... I'm just going to ask an open question to you specifically, but also to our audience. Would you think that women have it worse as a, like, here's the that are things that are, like, imposed upon you just by media and other expectations?
I would say so.
Because, I mean, men
like,
have it too, but it's like,
yeah,
media, I think women definitely have it more.
Like, in my opinion, it can't even compare. Like, I've grown up with two sisters, and I've seen the effects. Like, it cannot be ignored sometimes. It's so prevalent in our society. It's everywhere. It's like it surrounds us and it engulfs us. That, like, I would say easily that women have more pressure from society to be thin, to look like this, to act like this, not act like this in this situation. Always like just think of like hate to bring it up, but think of like rape culture and like how like women that like have been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted don't even say anything, because like statistics show that if any woman brings it up, the odds are they're gonna be ridiculed and put down by the rest of their co-workers, both men and women, surprisingly, but mostly men.
Yeah, it's weird how like if you're like and that's such a strange thing. Like if I went out and like beat somebody up, I'm at fault.
Yes.
I beat somebody up. I'm the bad guy.
Yes.
If a woman is raped, she's somehow at fault.
Yep.
In certain cases.
And
that makes no damn sense.
It always falls on, like, that's why, as much as people hate and cringe at it, but victim blaming is a problem. It's like this person is a victim of some sort of like some atrocity.
Like, oh, she was dressed provocatively.
Yeah, it's just.
So what? She can dress how she wants. It doesn't give someone the right to be like, okay, well, you're asking for it.
And when it's like when it's just there in our society and like no one even bats an eye. Like, well, okay, nowadays it's finally starting to get steam of like how this is a bunch of bullshit. But when no one like usually bats an eye because it's been established as like just the cultural norm, that's when it's a problem.
Yeah. God, I wish one of your sisters were here so we can bring this in, since it's two guys talking about women stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to bring it back to, as far as, and this is a big topic, and obviously we're not going to solve it. But one thing I definitely was thinking about earlier today, in fact, was how a lot of that stuff, both for men and women, are started as kids.
Yes.
Where, not even just media, but in general, like it's worse. I think it was worse years ago. It's certainly a little bit better now as far as their toys.
Oh, boys will be boys, and like can't have that boy have a pink anything.
Right. So, but like when you think back to like
girls, like like you got to play with the cutesy Barbie things and whatever,
But think back, like let's say 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Where pretty much the only toys a girl was allowed to that was marketed for is Barbies. So let's play dolls in general. I mean, Barbie's like a step up because at least you can be action figure-ish.
Yeah.
But let's say it's replicas of things that are in the kitchen or household appliances,
like Fisher Price, like plastic cups and tools and teapots,
or like Fisher Price vacuums.
Yeah, vacuums.
It's like, hey. So it's either that or
Fisher
dolls.
Price ironing board.
Now, on one hand, I can understand the dolls thing because, women give birth to children, and for the very intermediate parts of it, they're meant to take care, help them get used to the idea of, okay, you will be having children, maybe, if that's up to you, but you will be one of the people who are going to be most immediately attached to it. Not to say the husband won't be.
And that's what I was going to say. I was like, well, why not? Why can't the boys be like attached? Like, I think there's a lot of, like, I remember in the nostalgia.
But it's still the idea of training them.
Yeah, the nostalgia chick. Yeah, it's training them, which leaves a bad taste in anyone's mouth.
Yes.
But the nostalgia chick brought up a very good point of toxic masculinity. We have hyper masculinity in our culture of being like, be a man and don't cry and like, fight for what you believe in.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
like,
that's the flip side of like the boys' toys were like guns.
But yeah, and like
and weapons.
Toxic masculinity makes it so that like if a boy ever is, oh shit, that robot came out of nowhere. Oh man,
I scared our pigs.
Yeah, he scared away my ride. I think I was very upset.
Yes, we were. I think.
But,
Damn it!
But like, yeah, like she was using the Transformers films as an example of toxic masculinity because it's already been discussed in ad nauseum about how women are treated in Transformers films. It's pretty bad.
Yes.
But it's also pretty bad for the men too. Like Shia LaBeouf is like basically a proxy of the young teen audience that Michael Bay seems to fucking hate. Shia LaBeouf is this screaming, hot-headed, idiotic, sex-driven, stupid character.
Yeah.
He just yells and points the finger and blames people and flies off the handle. That's his toxic masculinity that he displays. And then other characters just show gross incompetence, even though they're in like positions of superiority and of command.
Well, that's more of a Michael Bayism. I mean,
yeah,
basically,
yeah,
like,
but true. But
oh, hey, look, the military, they're run by idiots, except like for the one guy who said something.
He
that no one
always
listens to.
he always glorifies the shit out of the military and they're hyper masculine, like soldiers. But at the same time, it backfires because he shows that it's also just like it shows how trivialized things can get, for like such, rampant like jingoism and like, oh, gotta fight for your country and be a man and all that,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I remember this part. We were trying to talk
it wasn't working for some reason.
To blue flying Sonic.
Because like, oh, it's the blue blur.
I think I just wasn't like standing close enough when he passed by. I don't know what the hell was going on.
I don't know. At this point, we're like, screw it, let's just go.
I was like, I just gotta... And he's like, no. I refuse to even acknowledge the damage.
Oh, we kind of ignored the fact that there's a big Goliath that's there that we can climb on.
We can climb on, and also 9S mentioned that if he's still in good enough shape that we could like repair his like cognitive functions.
And try to learn stuff from him.
Yeah, because he obviously can't move and hurt us anymore, but we could talk to him. And he'd say, like, hey, why you do?
Yep.
Okay, and now I remember I went to the factory to get a couple things, like a weapon that was sitting out there maybe. Or maybe I already did that.
I don't know if we did that yet, because like, I know at a certain... not in this episode, we went back to the...
Damn!
To the...
These guys just powered through a laser and everything. They didn't care.
Yeah, they were windmilling at you. But yeah, even today, like some of the things that both genders have to deal with is still messed up. I mean, even looking today, like there are more. Even though I kind of gave Barbie a little bit of a pass, it's still kind of one of those like, oh, you're expected to dress up and do this and that. But at least now Barbie is like doing other things.
There was an interesting...
Like before, it used to be Barbie's. Oh, hey, you can shop at the mall
and talk to your friends.
And you can talk to your friends and then...
And dress up.
And that's it. But now Barbie can be anything.
Here's an interesting thing. There was an interesting piece made by an Atlanta composer that Will and I saw from Georgia State called XXX Live Nude Girls. And the author, she basically talked to a bunch of women and asked them how did they play with their Barbies. And it is fascinating because a lot of the women wouldn't play like how the, like Barbie Corporation would advertise how to play with your Barbies.
Right.
They'd make it fucking dramatic and soap opera-esque as fuck. Like, there would be breakups and betrayals. It'd be like a regular, like The Young and the Restless. It'd be crazy. There'd be drunk Barbies. There'd be Barbies jumping off the roof of their penthouse because they're sad and heartbroken from Ken being an asshole. There'd be sex. Like, so many of the women she asked actually did manually give their Barbies genitalia and stuff like that, or draw on nipples or whatever, and there'd be like pregnancy scares and all this, so the whole piece was like an amalgamation of all these accounts, and just kind of showed a really fucked up version of Barbie's life. It was great. It starts with Barbie getting ready for a party. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. she has a house party with everyone, except it's much more like more adult, where like the Barbie dolls are drinking and things are going crazy. Like there's like music playing and everything. And then at one point Barbie's taking upstairs with Ken, and he just starts like the people. The whole thing is filmed with like the people moving around the Barbies and everything. And like at that one point, the one person holding the Ken doll is just like just like slamming the Ken doll. Oh yeah, there's
the weapon.
There's the virtuous tree.
Detained.
So anyway, that's what I gotta say about that. It's just it's interesting how how something's intended to be, especially with the ties to like gender normality and all that, and then how it's actually used in real life.
Right. Well, I mean, no one can tell you exactly how to play with a thing. Like,
exactly.
If they give you a thing, it's like, here, use your imagination. Kids come up with crazy things. It's only until you take a step backwards and say, "Oh, it's a training tool."
Yeah,
actually, they don't know that.
That was the strength.
Kids.
That was the strength of Toy Story. You saw they really did nail how kids play with their toys. It doesn't matter that there's a T-Rex and a cowboy and a spaceman.
Yeah.
And whatever.
I love those segments in Toy Story where Andy's just messing around and doing stuff. I
he,
totally did that.
And he just totally. Yeah, me too. I had like Lego people along with my action figures, along with my Batman figure, along with my like Transformer, my Beast War thing. It was a Waspinator or whatever. But yeah, I had everything all there. I used whatever to like form these like harebrained plots that my child brain could, like put together. What am I looking for right now?
I don't know. I think we're like, how do we get out of here?
No, not get out of here, because I already know that. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm stupid. Could just be. I don't know where I'm going. But anyway. Oh, I know I can. I mean, let's actually be
we
fucking.
were looking for the exit.
Let's actually be fucking topical with this game. I can talk about some stuff that isn't spoilery or anything. So
no, I mean, and the whole reason why I went off on that tangent was because.
Oh no, it's fine.
Because the whole like, oh, NieR is.
NieR is a good. It's like it. You're seeing everything in hindsight, and it's like a looking glass into like what will be left behind by our culture. Existentialism of like, well, we're all gone, so what does that even mean for what lies beyond us as a race?
Right.
The human race is kaput. Would that like
in WALL-E? It was like,
it's hard to imagine behind? Like what? Well, like it's hard to separate ourselves from our ego of how like we no matter how much we try, we can't help but have an ego of like we are important.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to have that existential creep of like, wow, we're not important. In fact, we're like the tiniest specks of dust in the universe, and we can just be wiped out by a sun imploding or a meteor coming down, or even the Earth itself just having violent climate changes and shifts in its in its act. I mean, in its magnetosphere.
That's why we have tombstones. Like that's the very definition of please don't forget me.
Yeah.
Like I existed, sort of thing. But I was more going towards the line of the reason why I brought all that up was because of that thing where someone's like, oh, we're seeing 2B's butt all the time. And
yeah. Oh yeah, you remember that? Yeah.
Sexing her up, and you had the argument of, well, she's a gynoid. She's
well, okay.
really
let me better explain my argument, because I realized going back that I didn't really explain my thoughts very well.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's interesting because like these characters have these gender roles attached to them as well. Like even though they have very little attachment to like 2B's not like Imo, like she doesn't identify as a she. Ninus doesn't identify as a he. Well, like in a sense they're just autonomous. Like there you go. Like they're just like identities within these shells. If I could like bring up something that like relates to it, is like Ghost in the Shell with like Motoko Kusanagi. Is just like she may look like a woman. Hell, when they have that famous scene of building her body, they show that they even give her like nipples, which in a sense of a cyborg, it's pointless. Why even bother? But at the same time, Will brought up a very good point. He's like, if I was like a like a consciousness in a body, he's like, I would be freaked out if I didn't have nipples, and I'm a guy. And I was like, you know what? That's a very good point. It's like you would be freaked out if just things are gone.
Yeah.
Even if they're like not, even if you don't even need them. But that's the interesting. I find it very fascinating. It's like we come into this game and we see 2B and we see 9S and we have all this baggage we carry with us. You kind of missed the mark, Mr. Boy. Whatever. I think I finally get to show off Tokyo board drifting. Yeah, but we have all this all this attached
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. If I think I gain a little bit more speed. Yeah, there we go. And
Nice.
yeah, there we go. Call back to the first game with one of the first missions you have is to tame a wild boar in the plains.
Mm-hmm.
Afterwards, you use it as your mount.
Careful, Toby.
Oh, we're going
Picking
after
up
the
hostiles.
little lost robot.
Yeah.
Anyway, as you were saying.
As I was saying, it's interesting to think about because the human creators built these. Oh man, just got bopped in the face. But they built these androids in their likeness, and
Easy
it's
there, little
it's
guy.
very much a thing
It's
of the
alright.
human ego to
You
make
weren't
things
scared,
look
were you?
like us.
Without crossing over to the uncanny valley.
Exactly.
Which is another
Like it's
another
very
interesting
much
concept.
deep rooted in a
Come
psychological
on, kid, don't be
like
unreasonable.
ways of thinking of
Any
us. Like
ideas,
we
2B?
we like
Never
things
dealt
that look
with
like us.
snot
That's why
nosed
Eldritch
machines.
horrors are so
You got me.
unnerving. Is because like that thing has way too many
More
eyeballs
enemies
or way
incoming.
too many arms or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Netflix show called, I mean not show, a Netflix like short movie called Zygote, where the creature is entirely made of teeth. It's the most unnerving
Ugh.
thing you'll ever see. I was like, that reminds me, I gotta go to the dentist.
Well, that's also why we tend to find like faces and things.
Yes.
Like we look for familiar shapes.
Like faces in these robots.
Like how if we go outside right now and we look like a car grill.
Mhm.
We a lot of people
Yeah,
see like the headlights as eyes.
Like what was I think it was BP that had these kooky like cartoon cars?
I think that was Chevron.
Chevron, it was Chevron, yeah, you're right, it was Chevron. But yeah. But this is why I love NieR. It's like these moments,
Are you
like
finished?
NieR is all about
Your mother is
existentialism
worried
and
about
like
you. She sent us here to find you.
like you know,
So quit with the whining and let us take you home already.
quit with the whining and letters. Yeah.
I love his drawn on his
The little
overalls.
smile, the sideways smile, yeah.
Yeah.
And drawn on like kid
Stay close,
overalls,
all right?
kitty pants.
Don't go wandering off. She sure was. So let's go home and have you apologize, all right?
And actually, this mission's a good thing. Another moment of like 9S showing like he does come off as a bit calculating and callous, like almost as much as 2B. Like he definitely has a bit more of a emotional side, even though 2B says emotions are prohibited. But
Yeah.
like that's why I like him a lot. Like he shows that humanity, and you just.
Well, he has a more readily available softer side to him.
Yeah, of course. And like 2B has her moments too, but like God, I just can't help but like 9S. Like you like the guy. Like he shows.
I love the two. Like even though
he
you're in
his
command.
he shows his very human things.
Yeah.
That's another thing of this existentialism is like all these things we're seeing right now, these machines, these androids, they're all developing personalities. I think in a later episode, not to spoil it, it's not much of a spoiler, but we do read a note that says from like the general server managers on the bunker that like, okay guys, stop putting your music files on the main server.
Yeah.
It's taking up too much space. I was like, it's little details like that show that like all of the androids are developing like little quirks and personalities, and like it's so interesting to see the blossoming of what can be argued as a
Of a
soul.
consciousness?
Like that's always been Yoko Taro's thing of like he loves like talking about these like NieR also dealt with this as well. Yeah, it did delve into that a little bit, but it fascinates me to no end. I guess that's why I'm always drawn to science fiction.
Yeah. And we can talk about this a little bit more in a different episode because I don't want to
Of course.
speak too much on it.
Yeah,
Granted,
save-
we have a
save
little
it.
bit of time, but a comparison that makes is for this is be Mega Man X in that universe.
Yes.
Where when you have a distinction between robots and Reploids.
Yeah.
And it's the same idea where, you know, a robot is just a machine that does a thing that you tell it to.
So would like those generic enemies be considered robots in the Mega Man X universe, like a Metal?
I think they're technically robots because they're just programmed to do a thing, and that's
yeah,
it.
Just a thing. Yeah.
Whereas the Reploids themselves, even though they may be designed for a certain function,
Yeah.
they can
like
choose not to do that
factory
function.
management. Yeah.
Well, just I mean, like, why else? Like, why would you design a Reploid to look like an alligator,
Yeah.
or like a centipede, or an octopus, or those sort of things?
Or Storm Eagle
So-
to patrol the skies.
So you have, you know, an idea of like, okay, this is what you can do. We have a design in mind for you, but they gave them but because they're Reploids, they can be like, that's nice and all, but I'd rather go fishing today.
Yeah.
You know, or like they develop their own personality, same as this. And at a certain point, you know, there was in that particular source of game series where they had the idea
it's the
of
messiness of free will.
yeah, but it's the idea of like, okay, well, if they're becoming more and more like human, where they're free thinking, they can choose what they want.
Yep.
You know, they suddenly became, instead of just a machine that they built on a factory, they became their own race.
Yeah, plenty of them keep mentioning like that they don't want to do what they want, that what they were originally programmed to do, or like they mentioned that like it's not fair that we're treated as like essentially second-class citizens because we're Reploids, especially when we've all shown that we've developed these, like, you know, this sort of sentience and consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Oh, touching moment. We can bring up this conversation next one. I think we're near the end of the episode.
Yep.
Sorry we went so deep in this one, guys, but it was just...
Yeah, that's how it is.
But though, to be honest, this is the sort of stuff James and I talk about when we're just on our own.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Oh, I love her little, like, drawn-on face on the apron
Of the
and things.
robot face, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this game has so much charm to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Like, people have gotten so attached to these machines for good reasons. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to see why. They made them relatable enough, you know? Where they can find little aspects of human life that we can attach to.
In this world devoid of humans. Yeah.
So, guys, I think it's probably where we were wrapping up. Guys,
Yep.
we're going to be continuing more of our talk over our Let's Plays.
Our Let's Play, yeah.
But,
Don't worry, we'll get back into the swing of things, and I'll make doubly sure when we continue again that the audio doesn't do anything, and the video doesn't do anything, and the game doesn't do anything. Everything will be okay.
Alright, guys, see you in the next one.